You found yourself on another edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United, and on today's episode, Sam Merrill continues to make a big impact as the Cavaliers scored their third straight win over the Utah Jazz. The Chicago Bulls played their most complete performance of the season in a win over the LA Lakers, while the Boston Celtics made a big statement to the rest of the NBA that they are the odds-on favorites to win an NBA championship, and they are the gold standard. We got a lot to break down right here on Let 'Em Know Kings United. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for the post-game reaction podcast of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and the Chicago Bulls. This is Let 'Em Know Kings United. Let 'em know, nation. You already know what time it is. Welcome to another edition of Let 'em Know Kings United, your Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and Chicago Bulls post-game reaction podcast. And I am your host, Skylar Weisberg. Thank you, as always, for tuning into today's show. And you can find Let 'em Know Kings United, which is 100% completely free and available on Amazon Music, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Radio Public, Pandora, and wherever else you want to listen to this show. Give the show a follow on those platforms if you can, please. Turn on your notifications so you know about the next episode. Please rate, spread the word out to your friends, and give Let 'Em Know Kings United a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. It is a great way to support the podcast, and I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. I want to start by talking about my new favorite team, the Chicago Bulls, who got the most complete win of the season, knocking down the in-season tournament champions, if you could call it that, the LA Lakers, 124-108. And I have to say this. I did not expect the Chicago Bulls to turn it around as quickly as they did. I mean, I expected the Bulls to struggle a bit without Zach LaVine, but my God, no Zach LaVine, no problem. The Bulls are one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now, besides the LA Clippers, and to me, I think they are one of the most improved teams in the NBA heading into Christmas. Can you call it a Christmas miracle that the Chicago Bulls are doing this good? I think you could call it that. I think you could call it a Christmas miracle because the Bulls are just straight up improving. The Bulls shot 54% from the field tonight and had 8 players, not 3, not 5, certainly not 2, but 8 players in double figures. Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, just to name a few. Nikola Vucevic had a double-double, 13 points and 10 rebounds. His 16th double-double of the season. It wasn't the best game for Vucci Mane, but he hit a dagger 3 to send LeBron and the LA Lakers back home to LA where they belong with their delusional asses. DeMar DeRozan said we was going through it. He spoke about the Bulls' 5-14 start to the season, which, Bulls Nation, we all know that sucked. But sometimes you got to go through it so you can find a different type of motivation that you can come together with. The best relationships come out of that. And despite the continued absence of all-star guard Zach LaVine due to right foot inflammation, which honestly, LA Lakers, you better get on the phone with the Chicago Bulls and figure out an offer for Zach LaVine, because as far as I'm concerned, you can have it. You can have Zach LaVine. We don't want any ounce of Zach LaVine in Chicago. One bit, even though I've been hearing that the Philadelphia 76ers are interested in not only Zach LaVine, but OG Anunoby from the Toronto Raptors. I find that pretty interesting. But anyway, the Bulls opened a 6-game homestand with their third win in their last 4 games. They also played without forward Torrey Craig, as they announced Tuesday that he can miss up to 10 weeks due to a right foot injury. I'm just going to call it right foot. Billy Donovan said, anytime you lose a really, really great player and a talented player, gifted player like Zach, I think it always hurts you. And by the way, Billy Donovan and the Bulls are 7-3 since the injury of Zach LaVine. Coincidence? I think not. Donovan said, I'm certainly hopeful when he gets himself healthy, he can go back to where he was. I think with the dealing with his foot for a long period of time, I'm not so sure that he was ever right. And I'm not that sure if Zach LaVine even deserves to belong back in the starting rotation the way that Kobe White, the way that Alex Caruso, the way that Ayo Dosunmu are playing tonight. I love the fact that Dylan Terry didn't show any damn fear guarding LeBron James, the GOAT, LeBron, Raymond, James. Dylan Terry, he had so much courage guarding LeBron tonight. I found that him guarding LeBron was absolutely shocking, considering that LeBron James is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. And in my opinion, he may be the greatest basketball player of all time. Not as good as Michael Jordan, but in the modern era, I think LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. But Lakers, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you for a second. And Laker Nation, do you regret hanging up that banner now? Do you regret hanging up that banner? Because the late, great Kobe Bryant once said, if the banner doesn't have NBA champion on it, that is meaningless. That crap is meaningless. And you know what, Lakers? You've proven to not only me, but the rest of the entire NBA that you are worthless. You are worthless as a basketball team, and you are one delusional, because there's only one player that's consistent all year. And that is LeBron Raymond James in year 21. Year 21, and he's definitely outworking all of you, outplaying all of you. He understands and respects the game better than most people. AD, I mean, what are you doing? He got 19 points and 14 rebounds in his hometown in Chicago, but my God, you are so inconsistent. It is just unfreaking believable. Trailing as many as 18 points early, Los Angeles repeatedly trimmed the deficit as low as 2 as late as halfway through the third quarter, but couldn't overtake DeRozan and Chicago. The Bulls have put together their best stretch of perimeter shooting all year since losing the sharpshooting Zach LaVine. After hitting 18 of his 34 point attempts against the Lakers, the Bulls have averaged over 14 3-pointers per game over the last 10 contests, which would rank near the top of the entire league over a full season. Kobe White said something really interesting about the new offense that the Chicago Bulls are coming with. He is saying that they are playing a lot faster, has opened up a lot for us in that regard, transition threes, and not playing against a set defense. They weren't thinking, they were just playing. And you know what? I don't think it's a coincidence that it would take an injury like Zach LaVine to turn the Bulls around. I think that the Bulls are playing a better brand of basketball, and if you are in part of Bulls Nation, if you aren't watching the Chicago Bulls right now, y'all better get on it. Y'all better get on the Chicago Bulls bull wagon. You better know it. This Bulls team is so fun to watch, and I expect the Bulls to continue to roll all the way through the San Antonio Spurs. in that retrospective, I know you cannot overlook a 4-20 basketball team. So in that retrospective, it could be a trap game for the Chicago Bulls, but the way that they're playing right now, I am confident in them. I believe in the Bulls, and at the end of the day, you're going to have to do what you're supposed to do, and I believe that the Bulls could do it. Anthony Davis said this: we all hate losing. There's no break coming, no help coming. There's no cavalry. We got to do it within this locker room. We've got everyone back now. We just got to find a way to get in the win column. I know one way that you can get back to in the win column, AD, and that is you getting rid of Darvin Ham. This guy is a waste of space. This guy is worthless. This guy is meaningless. He just doesn't know how to coach the game of basketball. Billy Donovan was in the same way, but at least I could say that Billy Donovan has improved coaching-wise as of late. The Bulls, I will say, they played the most complete game that they have all year. Beginning to end, it was just a butt whooping over the LA Lakers. They did have some tough stretches though, but at the end of the day, they found a way to stick together. 54.5% from the field, 52% from three-point range. Like, are you kidding me? If you would have told me that this Chicago Bulls team would shoot that good against a really good and very veteran LA Laker team, I would have called you crazy. I would have said you must have lost your goddamn mind. But the Bulls continue to prove me wrong, and they shot completely outstanding. The free throw percentage, not a lot of free throws for both teams. But the Bulls were making more buckets than the Lakers, but at the end of the day, that's all that counts, right? The rebounds were 48-40 in favor of the Bulls. The assist numbers, 27-25 in favor of the Lakers. The steals were even at 7. The blocks were 7-6 in favor of the Lakers. 16 turnovers for the Chicago Bulls. They had 1 point, had 10 turnovers in the second quarter. I'm proud of them that they were able to clean that up, but turning the ball over a lot is not going to help you win games at the end of the day. But what's going to help is you guys continuing to shoot the way that y'all been shooting. The fast break points were 21-15 in favor of the Lakers, mostly because of LeBron, Raymond, James, and the points in the paint, 54-34. I would have rather seen the Chicago Bulls get more baskets in the paint, but if you're hot from three, you're hot from three. LeBron James, that's why he's the GOAT. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal. It is year 21, and LeBron is clearly your best player. I mean, that's like not only pathetic, but it's like inexcusable. Lakers, you gotta do better and learn from what the Chicago Bulls are doing. AD, 19 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I'm not worried about him. D'Angelo Russell, only 2 points. Pathetic. Taurean Prince, 16 points. He was 4 for 8 from 3. With 4 assists and 4 rebounds. Not bad. Cam Reddish, 13 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. Not bad because he's a defensive player. Austin Reeves, off the bench, 21 points, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. 2 for 5 from 3. Not a bad performance from Austin Reeves. But listen, the Lakers need to learn how to play team basketball. And I think the Bulls put on a clinic in that retrospective. Kobe White, 17 points on the night with 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Vucevic had 13 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. DeMar DeRozan missed the fourth quarter, finished with 27 points, 9 assists, and 7 big rebounds. He also had a steal and a block. Alex Caruso finished with 15 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. Off the bench, Ayo Dosunmu came up big, 14 points, and he was 4 for 6 from three-point range. Javon Carter finished with 10 points. Andre Drummond, 11 points, 7 rebounds. None of them were offensive rebounds. Dylan Terry, he only had 2 points in his 21 minutes that he had, but he had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and he showed no fear guarding LeBron James. Look, Chicago, you continue to make me proud. You continue to show me why you're the most improved team in the NBA in the month of December, and I expect you guys to keep it rolling against the San Antonio Spurs tonight. Quality win. That was the most complete win that we've had all year, and if you are part of Bulls Nation, you should be proud, and if you want to come to Bulls Nation, the door's wide open, because this Bulls team is fun to watch. Speaking of fun to watch, it's fun to watch Sam Merrill make a big impact off the bench, and that's what he continues to do with the Cleveland Cavaliers as they continue to roll over their victory over the Utah Jazz. We're going to talk about that when we come back on Let 'Em Know Kings United. Welcome back to Let 'Em Know Kings United, everybody, and it is absolutely amazing to see what a bench player can do to ignite a team. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know the name Sam Merrill, you better look him up and you better respect his name, or put some respect on the name of Sam Merrill, who had another career high night. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The other night against Houston, he had 19 points and 5 threes off the bench. It was a career high for him that night in a 135-130 win. Sam Merrill was like, you know what? That's child's play. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do one better. He dropped 27 points off the bench and 8 threes. Like, are you serious? Are you serious? In the words of Brad Daugherty, you better ask somebody. You better ask somebody about Sam Merrill, because this dude is special. He is a 4-year pro out of Utah State, and this man is like igniting the shorthanded Cleveland Cavaliers, who are already without DG and Evan Mobley. We all know what happened to them. And they were also without the former longtime Utah Jazz player, Donovan Mitchell, due to an illness. Man, oh man, if Donovan Mitchell wasn't hurt, he would have been chomping at the bit to play this game, because we, for the first time since the trade, got to see Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, former Cleveland Cavaliers, back at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And by the way, shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers fan base for giving Colin Sexton a warm standing ovation as a welcome back for the Bowl. Colin Sexton, it was awesome. It was awesome. This is why I love the fan base of the Cleveland Cavaliers so much. They are so passionate about not only the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they are so passionate about the game of basketball. And they are really, really passionate in seeing one of their former teammates, or one of their very own, Colin Sexton, doing amazing things in Utah, but I'm going to get to that in just a second. By the way, the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Utah Jazz 124-116 to secure a 3rd straight win in this homestand. Sam Merrill said, I grew up as a Jazz fan in Utah, so to be able to have a game like this against them is even more special. To do that while we're winning games, that's what you dream about as a kid. You got to enjoy these moments for sure. And you know what? I love about how the Cleveland Cavaliers, even though they're shorthanded right now, they are continuing to win. They're continuing to find a way to win, and they were absolutely willing to sacrifice and play for each other. J.B. Bickerstaff said, and I quote, "This isn't going to be a one-person sub situation. I thought our guys have done a phenomenal job picking up the slack. It speaks to the character of these guys and their willingness to sacrifice." Max Strus had another outstanding night. Jared Allen had another outstanding night. He was big time. And you know what they say about big time players, right? big-time players make big-time plays, and Jared Allen was absolute big-time. Sam Merrill was absolutely big-time coming off the bench with those 8 threes. I mean, he is a bad man. But they were without their all-star Donovan Mitchell, the 4-time all-star who is averaging 27 points per game this season, spent his first 5 seasons with Utah before being traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers back in September 1st of 2022. Max Strus scored 18 points on 6 threes, and Jared Allen had 17 and 8 rebounds for the Cavs, which made 23 three-pointers on a franchise record 51 attempts. 51! I mean, if you're shooting well from 3, you might as well get it up. But damn, I didn't expect this type of game from the Cleveland Cavaliers last night, and I gotta hand it to them. They are 3-0 on a 4-game homestand since losing Mobley and Darius Garland. I mean, again, that speaks to the character and the resilience that this team has. I honestly thought that the Cleveland Cavaliers were gonna go absolutely downhill because Darius Garland is a guard that can make big-time plays, and he can create without the ball, while Evan Mobley can help out Jared Allen on the inside, and he can generate more baskets in the paint. But it causes guys to step up. I felt Craig Porter Jr. did a really good job filling in the starting guard role. You already know what Max Strus can do. He is a straight-up shooter, and the Strus is on the loose, baby. I thought Isaac Okoro dripping with ice did an amazing job stepping up tonight. I thought Karis LeVert was absolutely big time. I thought George Niang is starting to find his groove. And of course, I'm talking about Sam Merrill with his great performance off the bench. 2 games in a row now. 2 games in a row where he's been having like great performances. I think they are going to be in for a test against the New Orleans Pelicans team that can cause a really bad matchup for anybody. If you don't want to take my word for it, ask the Sacramento Kings, who I am going to grill in the next segment. They have been a tough matchup for anybody because they have playmakers like Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson. They got Alvarado, who can steal the living hell out of the ball, and Willie Green is coaching up a really talented team. So if there was a game in this homestand which could be a litmus test to see where the Cleveland Cavaliers are right now, I think the Pelicans tonight would pose a really good test for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm really looking forward to watching that game. The former Cavs, Lauri Markkanen, had 26 and 10 rebounds, and Sexton scored 20 points on the night. THT had 19 points and tied his career high with 11 assists for the Jazz, who unfortunately is 2-13 on the road and will not return until December 30th against the team from South Florida that I'm not going to say. I mean, it's a long story. I mean, if you know, you know. Markkanen, Sexton, and Abaji were acquired by Utah in exchange for Donovan Mitchell, along with 3 first-round draft picks and multiple second-round selections. Colin Sexton really wanted this game bad. He said, "Me and Lowry wanted this game so bad," who, by the way, received a warm standing ovation in his first game back in Cleveland. Again, shout out to the fan base of the Cleveland Cavaliers. It definitely felt good how the fans reacted, knowing this is where I came from and how much the community means to me. And Markkanen said, "Every one of us really believed we could still make a run in the end. They just shot the ball really well from 3. Once a team makes a couple in a row, they start feeling good, and it's very hard to stop them." The Utah Jazz are a really talented basketball team. They might be 10-18, but they are playing better than a 10-18 team. However, the Cavaliers, like Lauri Markkanen said, got hot from 3, and once they got going, there's ain't no stopping them now when shooting them threes. They shot 45% from 3, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They shot 47% from the field. Pretty good shooting numbers for them, while Utah shot 51% from the field and 43% from three-point range. Both teams shot the ball extremely well in this game. The free throw percentage, all Utah. all Utah in that regard, 82% to 68, or you can argue 70%. The rebounds, 44-38 Cleveland. The assists, 34-24 Cleveland. The blocks, 6-3 Utah. The steals were 8-5 Cleveland. The turnovers, 16 turnovers for Utah, allowing 26 points, 12 for Cleveland, allowing 17. The fast break points, 15-8. The points in the paint, 46-38 in favor of Utah. But it was the sharp shooting threes by the Cleveland Cavaliers that propelled them to another win. It's their third straight win overall and their third straight win in this homestand. Colin Sexton, the former Cleveland Cavalier, dropped 20 points with 3 rebounds and 2 assists on the night. Lauri Markkanen, 26 points, 10 rebounds, and assist. He also was 3 for 9 from 3-point range. THT, 19 points. Horton Tucker dropped 11 assists and a rebound. He was 7 for 8 from the free throw line. And off the bench, John Collins dropped 16 points. He was 2 for 4 from 3 with 5 rebounds, a steal, and a block. As far as the Cleveland Cavaliers, Sam Merrill continues to be a bright story for the Cleveland Cavaliers so far. 27 points, 8 for 14 from 3, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He was a plus-minus, a plus 17 on the night. He also had a steal. Max Strus, 18 points, 6 for 12 from 3-point range with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. George Niang, 15 points with a rebound and an assist. He was 3 for 10 from 3-point range. Tristan Thompson continues to be big time, especially on the glass. He was 5 for 7 from the field in his 18 minutes of play with 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Craig Porter Jr. got the start and chipped in 6 points. He also grabbed 7 rebounds and 6 assists on the night. Jared Allen, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals, including a big-time alley-oop from Max Strus. And it's not going to be an easy road for the Cleveland Cavaliers, as everybody knows. But they continue to do it by committee, and guys like Sam Merrill are stepping up in big time moments. The Cavaliers are going to be in for a good litmus test against the New Orleans Pelicans. I am truly excited to see how that game goes. But coming up next, though, speaking of litmus test, the Sacramento Kings failed their latest litmus test miserably against the Boston Celtics, as the Celtics proved why they are the gold standard in the National Basketball Association. We will break this loss down when we come back on Let 'Em Know Kings United. Welcome back to Let 'Em Know Kings United. Coming in to this Boston Celtics and Sacramento Kings game, I went in and thought to myself that this could have been a good litmus test for the Sacramento Kings against a championship caliber team. It could have been a good litmus test to see where they were. And for the first quarter of this game, a 41-38 first quarter won by the Sacramento Kings, I thought to myself, okay, we got ourselves a ball game. We got ourselves a dogfight. We got ourselves a potential NBA Finals preview between the Celtics and the Kings. I know I'm taking this a little bit too far right now, but I'm just saying, given the fact of an entertaining matchup this was supposed to be. The Boston Celtics went on a second night of a back-to-back, coming off a heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, overtime loss to the Golden State Warriors, and probably the greatest shooter that God has ever created, by the name of Stephen Night Chef Curry with the shot. They came into Sacramento and proceeded to kick all kinds of ass all over the Sacramento Kings. 144 to 119 was the final. Before I get into grilling the Sacramento Kings, I need to give the kudos to the Boston Celtics. If nobody for the Sacramento Kings besides Mike Brown's going to do it, let me do it for them. Let me give the kudos to the Boston Celtics. These guys came to Sacramento and they played like they were on a mission. They had a purpose. They had more energy than the Sacramento Kings. They had more heart than the Sacramento Kings. They showed more fight than the Kings. And Joe Mazzulla, this is his second year as the head coach of the Boston Celtics, and he's coaching like he's been with the Boston Celtics for 15 years. Right now, to me, he is the clear odds-on favorite for Coach of the Year in 2023-2024. Absolutely no question. The Celtics look like the far fresher team and rolled to their 6th win in 7 games. The Sacramento Kings came into this game well rested after playing a trap game, a trap win against the Washington Wizards, and 1 game of practice. The Boston Celtics proceeded to kick all kinds of country ass all over the Sacramento Kings. Joe Mazzulla said, it's a long year. You have to have the proper perspective. Of course, we're not going to be happy if we lose. The great thing about playing 82 games is you get a chance to shake it off the next day. And you talk about shake it off. Shout out to the Queen Taylor Swift. But the Boston Celtics made the Sacramento Kings and Mike Brown specifically embarrassed, disgusted, and as far as the Kings, they cannot be trusted. Kristaps Porzingis, who missed the game against the Golden State Warriors because of a calf injury, dominated the interior for Boston with 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 block shots. Mind you, he just flat out dominated Domantas Sabonis. He forced Domantas Sabonis to go to the weight room after this game. The shooters, led by Kobe White, did the rest as the Celtics made 22 of 43 three-pointers after missing 41 of 58 attempts from long range in the loss to the Warriors, who, by the way, Boston speaking, were without their other best shooter in Jason Tatum and Al Horford. You might have thought that the Sacramento Kings would have had a better chance of winning this game, right? Wrong. Derek White said, we've had great shooters missing wide open looks. You just have to trust that if you continue to get looks, people will knock them down. We were able to make them today like we weren't yesterday. That's just the name of the game. De'Aaron Fox, on his 26th birthday, who scored 29 points, who had won 3 straight games coming in. Unfortunately, the Kings just got dominated. It's that simple. The Kings got dominated. Why? Because not only the fact that the Boston Celtics were shooting the ball well, I think as far as the Sacramento Kings go, they had so many breakdowns on defense that it was an absolute disgrace. Like, we couldn't defend any ball screens. We couldn't hedge over their screens. We didn't know where the shooters were, shout out to Stacey King, KYP. The Sacramento Kings didn't know their personnel coming into this game. The teams got off to a fast start, with the Kings making 11 three-pointers in the first quarter and the Celtics answering with 8 to tie for the most combined threes in a quarter with the Mavericks-Warriors game from 2019. But as the threes stopped falling for the Kings, the Celtics started to take control. They made 6 more threes in the second quarter, and 28 combined first-half threes also tied the NBA record for a half set in that 2019 game. Sacramento made only 10 threes in the final 3 quarters after making 11 in the first. Derek White said, We just kind of made an adjustment, just being there on the catch. They played fast. They got a lot of talented players. We stepped up to the challenge. And Mike Brown said this: that was a good old-fashioned butt kicking, I should say. Give credit to the Celtics, especially coming off a back-to-back. They for sure didn't like the team that was waiting on us here. I believe the Sacramento Kings are not going to get from that good to great team that Mike Brown has been talking about all year, that he's been talking about coming out of camp, that he's been talking about coming into the season. Why? Because I think as far as offense, they're normally good, but they were not that good today. Defense dramatically improved, but not there. I just think mentally they are weak. They might be physically tough, but mentally they are weak. And you know why? You know why I'm seeing that? Because only one player was locked in all game. For the 48 minutes, one player of the Sacramento Kings was locked in. When there was one moment in the game where the Boston Celtics didn't really inbound the basketball and try to get a game call. The entire Kings bench, including the coaches, wanted to argue with the refs. Malik Monk came in from the end of the bench and told everybody to shut the F up. Shut the hell up. We are getting embarrassed. We are laying an egg, and that's how you want to react, and that's how you want to act? Honestly, give credit to the Boston Celtics. They are the gold standard in the NBA for a reason, and they are holding the number one spot in the NBA right now, thanks to the Minnesota Timberwolves losing last night. And you talk about a litmus test to see where the Sacramento Kings are? Clearly, by this performance, the Sacramento Kings are nowhere close to where they want to be. They are still a talented team. They have a lot of talented players, but talent is not going to be good enough anymore. When you are facing teams like Boston, you need to be locked in for 48 minutes. You need to be mentally tough. You need to play great defense. You need to communicate on screens. You need to get where the shooters are. Boston is a championship caliber team because I feel that unlike the Sacramento Kings, they are battle tested. They've been there before. They knew what it feels like to lose games in the championship. They made to the NBA Finals a few years ago, losing to the Golden State Warriors, and they used that as motivation to get to whatever they want to go. Right now, I'm seeing the Boston Celtics as a clear odds-on favorite to get to the NBA playoffs, let alone an NBA championship. If you're asking me what the NBA Finals match is right now, give me the Boston Celtics versus the Denver Nuggets, because I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to collapse. Even though they're off to a really good start right now and they have the best record in the West, I still think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to collapse and the Denver Nuggets are going to take advantage of that. But about the Kings, I still think they are a good team, but they are clearly not a great team. They got a long way to go, and they got a lot to learn before their next game against the Phoenix Suns. But they know how to respond after tough losses, so we'll see how Sacramento responds there. 55% for the field for Boston, 47% for Sacramento. If I could call it a bluff here, Boston dominated in every single aspect of the game. 2-point shooting, 3-point shooting, defense, execution, coaching, screening, switching. It was pretty much a master class from the Boston Celtics, and they treated the Sacramento Kings like a JV team who has not played basketball a day in their lives. That's what Boston did to them. Now, as far as the other players that stood out for Boston, Jaylen Brown, 28 points, 6 rebounds, or 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Derek White, 6 for 9 from 3, 28 points, 7 assists, a couple of boards, 3 big blocks. Sam Hauser, 10 points, 2 for 4 from 3, 5 rebounds, an assist. Kristaps Porzingis, who is clearly Domantas Sabonis' dad, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 big-time blocks. He was a plus-minus, a plus 22. Pritchard, 20 points, 6 for 11 from 3, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Jrue Holiday, 21 points. He was 4 for 6 from 3-point range with 10 assists, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals. As far as the Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox, 29 points. He was 6 for 8 from 3-point range, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. But he had 3 turnovers on the night. Domantas Sabonis, 13 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Another double-double, but who cares? It's on a loss. Trey Lyles, 11 points, 3 for 6 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Keegan Murray, 13 points. And look, if there was one guy that I was really proud of, was Keon Ellis. He had 12 points, 4 of 7 from 3-point range. All of them were threes. He had 4 assists and 2 rebounds. But he was the only Sacramento Kings player who took the media before Mike Brown and faced the music, faced the media, faced the questions. And he was asked why Sacramento didn't win. He said, "We don't know how to be mentally tough." And quite frankly, if Sacramento wants to get from good to great, they need to learn what mental toughness means, because Boston has that. Boston is the gold standard for a reason. They are mentally tough. They are physically tough. They are well coached. And in my opinion, they are going to be running through the Eastern Conference, if not the entire NBA. Because like I said, if this was a test to see where the Sacramento Kings are, they failed, and they failed miserably. That's going to do it for today's edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United. You can find this show on Amazon Music, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Radio Public, Pandora, and wherever else you want to listen to this show. Give the show a follow on those platforms if you can. Please turn on your notifications so you know about the next episode. Please rate, spread the word out to your friends. Give Let 'Em Know Kings United a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. I am your host, Skylar Weisberg. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you right back here for another episode of Let 'Em Know Kings United.